Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, March 19th. Welcome to our meeting. The meeting is held virtually as well as in person. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the 3D20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curb Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. The township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. With that, I'll ask everybody to please turn your cell phones off or place them on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And I'll remind council of declaration of consumer interest if it arises. You can declare it then, or or declare it now. We have minutes here from the regular council meeting of March 5th, 2024. I'll look for a motion to receive those if all is in order. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we're going to move into public meeting for a zoning bylaw amendment. I'll look for a motion to go into that public meeting. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so this is a statutory public meeting held under Section 39 of the Planning Act. Any person may attend the public meeting and or make verbal or written representation either in support of the application or in opposition to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Please keep your video off and microphone muted during the meeting until the chair invites you to comment regarding a planning matter. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the council of the corporation of the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. If you wish to be notified of the passing of the zoning bylaw amendment, you must make written requests to the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. Turn it over to Arya.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, members of council. So the purpose and effect of this report is to present for the consideration and requisite approval of council an application to amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw number 1995-42 as amended in order to permit the redevelopment of a single detached seasonal recreational dwelling unit while also introducing certain site-specific regulations. So the recommendation of my report is that subject to any new information or public comments received prior to or at the statutory public meeting, that the draft bylaw be passed as presented, as well as the balance of this report be received. So just going into a little bit of background history regarding this application, we do have the site plan up for everyone's view. As proposed, the development of the subject law will consist of a complete tear and rebuild of the existing seasonal recreational dwelling unit to construct a new seasonal recreational dwelling unit alongside an attached uncovered deck, as well as both screened and covered porches. Currently, the property is developed with an existing recreational dwelling unit. The dwelling unit is comprised of a total ground floor area of approximately 116 square meters, and that roughly translates to about 1,254 square feet, with an existing lakeside uncovered deck. There are an assortment of existing accessory structures on the subject lot, inclusive of 3 frame sheds as well as 1 sleeping cabin. Township records indicate the presence of building permits for the construction of the dwelling unit. Data from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation suggests that the existing dwelling unit was constructed in 1975, which would predate the township's current zoning bylaw of 1995. So the owner of the property is Nina Coutinho. The property description is part lot 29, concession 2, plan 26, lot 8. The municipal address is 551 Fire Route 59 in the Belmont ward, with an assessment roll number of 1531-010-006-31800. So the site visit was conducted on the subject property prior to any analysis completed in terms of planning analysis, and the site visit was done on December 14th, 2022. The subject property, just going into a little bit of description about the property and site metrics and whatnot. The subject property comprises approximately 0.25 hectares, which translates to about 0.6 acres, with shoreline frontage being maintained on Cordova Lake. There is currently, again, an existing recreational dwelling unit that is 116 square meters. Property survey data, as well as township records, indicate the presence, again, of accessory structures. Township staff verified this information via the site visit that was conducted on December 14th. And the permits were essentially for the dwelling unit are in the file folder. The total existing lot coverage is approximately 7.4% with the current structures. The total proposed lot coverage will be increased to 7.9%. That's a difference of about 0.5%. The current setback from the high watermark for the existing dwelling unit to Cordova Lake is approximately 10.6 meters, which translates to about 34.9 feet. That's for the dwelling unit, and 8 meters, which translates to 26.5 feet for the existing uncovered deck. The proposed development is not intended to reduce any setback standards. Instead, certain areas of the proposed dwelling unit are actually to be further situated from the shoreline than the existing setbacks. The subject property is currently zoned seasonal residential, as the allocation of the lot coverage on the subject property will be slightly increased. That doesn't go above the allocated 15% prescribed under the seasonal residential zone, and that's for lot coverage. Additionally, a vast majority of the site will be maintained in its natural vegetative state, and it will remain unaltered. The overall pattern of the development of the shoreline is quite linear, and recreational dwelling units are pretty typical around this area of Cordova Lake. And as I've stated before, data from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation suggests that the dwelling unit was created in 1975, which predates the township zoning bylaw. So by way of the proposed redevelopment, the applicants are requesting permission to redevelop the subject property by tearing and rebuilding the existing recreational dwelling unit in favor of the new one. So just, I won't go into much detail about the planning discussion. It's all outlined in the report. The township staff have determined that the subject application does conform to provincial policy, more particularly the provincial policy statement, as well as the Places to Grow Act, which is the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, as well as the County of Peterborough's official plan and the township's official plan, as well as the zoning bylaw. And following our review and assessment of this application within the context of these relevant land use planning policies and regulations, it is the township's planning opinion that the subject application conforms again to the growth plan, to the PPS, the County of Peterborough's official plan, the township's official plan, and the zoning bylaw. And that concludes my report to council.
Okay, thank you, Arya. So I'm going to start off here by asking 3 times if anybody's in opposition to the application, followed by 3 times anybody in favor, and then we'll open up to council to ask any questions if need be. So the first time, anybody in opposition of this application? Second time, anybody in opposition? Third time, anybody in opposition? Is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? Is the applicant here? Anybody wishing to speak in favor?
Oh, hi, sorry. Yeah, this is Nina Coutinho, together with my husband, Darnell Leader. We're here, we're the applicants, and obviously we're in favor, but thank you for considering us and our application.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't see you on the screen there. So, okay, so third time, anybody in favor of the application? Okay, so I'll open it up to council. Any questions for Arya? Deputy Mayor Webb?
It was pretty straightforward. It's on the same footprint and closer to the water, so I'd make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the planner to approve the.
Okay. So I have a mover for the recommendation. Is there a second? Seconded by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carries. Okay then. So get a motion to go out back into the public meeting, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Seconded by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. We do have the one bylaw for this item, so if we do have a lot of bylaws later, so if I could get this out of the way, that would help right now. So the bylaw 2024-22, being a bylaw to amend the township Havelock-Belmont-Methuen comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to change the zoning of certain lands being located in lot 29, concession 2, plan 26, lot 8 in the Belmont ward. Assessment number 153101000631800 seasonal residential to special dwelling, special district dwelling. So I'll look for a motion that we move that bylaw. Moved by Councillor Clement. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Doherty. Any other questions with regards to that? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we're going to move into committee of adjustment with Deputy Mayor Webb in the chair. So I'll look for a motion to go into committee of adjustment. Moved by Councillor Doherty, seconded by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. You take over.
Thank you, Mayor Martin and members of Committee of Adjustment. I'll call this public meeting to order and remind the members of the committee of the requirement to disclose any pecuniary interest or general nature thereof if the occasion arises. This public meeting is held under section 45 of the Planning Act and its regulations. We'll now have our planning consultant area present just one minor variance report today. All right.
You, Chair, members of the committee, subject application and minor variance application A04-24. The property owner is Bruce Casey. Municipal address is 97 Fire Route 38. Assessment roll number is 1531010-004-29800. The lot is part lot 15 and concession 8, and the area of the subject lot is roughly around 0.25 hectares. That translates to about 1.3 acres. And the zoning of the property or the subject property is seasonal residential with an official plan designation of shoreline. The property is also in the Belmont ward. So the purpose and effect of this minor variance application is as follows. Number one, seek relief from section 11.2.2.1, having the following effects: permitting the maximum total floor area of all accessory buildings and structures from 75% of the gross floor area of the principal use to 136%. And there's just one, essentially one variance required here. And this one variance is for the redevelopment of a seasonal recreational dwelling unit to a larger footprint, as well as a new detached garage, both of which are to be behind or beyond the high watermark setback of Round Lake. The redeveloped seasonal recreational dwelling unit will also be accompanied by a new septic system. So the recommendation of this report is that minor variance application A-04-24 be approved with the following conditions. Number one, that a 20-day appeal period lapse prior to the issuance of a building permit. That a temporary use agreement be executed and registered on title to the satisfaction of the municipality. That the site of the old seasonal recreational dwelling unit be converted to natural vegetation upon completion of the construction of the new recreational dwelling unit, and that a building permit be issued within 18 months of the approval of this application. I believe the applicant is also here in attendance. So just a little bit about background and analysis on the subject property. There's currently an existing recreational dwelling unit with approximately 102.6 square meters of habitable space, and that roughly translates to about 1,100 square feet. An assortment of accessory structures inclusive of a boathouse, a sleeping cabin, a frame shed, and a workshop are also present on the subject lot. And the assessment data provided by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation indicates that all existing structures on the subject lot were created roughly around 1956, and this predates the township's first comprehensive zoning bylaw in 1974. Therefore, these structures would maintain legal non-complying status. Most of the structures listed above, apart from the existing frame shed, are within the 30-meter high watermark setback. And as per the subject application, the property owner intends on demolishing and redeveloping the existing recreational dwelling unit to a larger footprint, with also an assortment of decks and porches. However, this new recreational dwelling unit, while it is on a larger footprint, is also entirely outside the 30-meter setback of the lake. The property owner also intends on constructing a new detached garage alongside a new private sewage system in the form of a septic system to service the recreational dwelling unit. And again, both these structures are also outside the 30-meter setback of the high water mark. So there's quite a bit of improvements happening on the subject property. So my report, essentially, not going into much detail about the 4 tests of the minor variance. However, township staff are satisfied that the application does meet the 4 tests of a minor variance, also maintaining consistency with provincial policy in the form of the provincial policy statements, as well as the growth plan for the greater Golden Arrow Shoot. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report, Arya. Is the applicant or their agent present for us today? I believe you said they were.
I am.
Do you have anything to add?
Nope, I think Arya.
Thank you. So first of all, we'll start. Is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in opposition to this application? Second time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in opposition of the application? Is there anyone present or online wishing to speak in favor of the application? Go ahead, sir.
I'm in favor of it.
And you are Mr.
Bruce Casey.
Bruce Casey. Okay. Okay, so second time, anyone wishing to speak in favor? Third and final time, anyone wishing to speak in favor? Not hearing any comments, besides those from Mr. Casey. I'll open up to other members of the committee for any comments or questions or a motion on the matter. Councilor Clement.
So I will accept that we accept the minor variance with the conditions attached.
So a motion from Councilor Clement to approve the conditions. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Mayor Martin. Comments or questions on the motion? All in favor? That's passed. Thank you very much for the one report area today. Now take a motion to adjourn the public meeting and return back to the regular council meeting. Moved by Councilor Clement, seconded by Councilor Doherty. All in favor? Passed.
All right, thank you, Mayor Webb. So with that, we're gonna move into planning reports here. And Arya, our first planning report is with regards to creation of new lot for Sterling Steel.
Through you, Mayor Martin, members of council. So the subject of this application, again, is the creation of a new lot, applications B 169-22. The purpose of this report is to provide some background information regarding the proposed creation of the new lot and to seek the requisite direction of council. So the recommendation of this report is that council advise Peterborough County Land Division, excuse me, that the township endorses the application to create one new lot, being referenced as B 169-22, having assessment roll number 1531-010-007-70300. And this was submitted on behalf of the applicants by Laura Stone, who I believe is also here in attendance. The first condition is that $1,000 cash in lieu of parkland be paid to the municipality to each of the new lots being created, and there's only one here. The second condition is that a rezoning of the severed lands be completed to the satisfaction of the municipality, and the balance of this report be received. So just by way of a background on the subject application, the property in question comprises approximately 36 acres, which translates to about 14 hectares, together with approximately 189 meters of frontage maintained on Jack Lake, as well as Fire Route 88, I should say. The property is located in part lot 30, concession 11 in the Methuen ward. And the application now before council was filed with Peterborough County Land Division in November of 2022. Submission for the consent proposal was subject of a preliminary severance review, and this was completed, I believe, in October of 2021. And if approved, the severed lands will comprise approximately 35 acres in area with approximately 165 meters of frontage maintained along Jack Lake. The retained lands will comprise approximately 0.3 acres and with approximately 24 meters of frontage on Jack Lake. And by way of a discussion for planning discussion, we have the township staff is satisfied that the application does meet the intent and purpose of the township's official plan as well as zoning bylaw. They're just talking a little bit about the zoning bylaw. According to Schedule A2 of the bylaw, the retained lands are currently zoned as seasonal residential, while the severed is entirely in the rural zone. As mentioned in my report, the severed lands will require a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject lands to environmental protection in order to protect the natural features on the subject lands for future development. It is anticipated that either an environmental protection zone or an environmental protection exception zone be utilized as part of the zone amendment application process. And while the lands currently will be deficient, the retained lands will be currently deficient, it is worth noting that this is an existing lot of record and that the lot does carry with it legal non-complying. So based on the review of the subject application, together with all the supporting material, it is the township's planning opinion that the proposed application again conforms to the policies of the official plan, as well as the spirit or complying with the spirit and the intent of the zoning bylaw. And that concludes my report.
So you do have a recommendation here, goes up to council. Thought?
Yeah, once again, kind of a straightforward application here. I already just gone through most of the things that we need to look at, so I'll make a recommendation that we go with the approval on this one.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we go with the recommendations as provided. Seconded by Councillor Flagler. Any questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, our next item here, is the creation of junior lot. For Tucker.
Mayor Martin, members of council. So the subject of this application is also the creation of lots being created. Applications B139-22A and B140-22A. And this is for the property owned by Gord Tucker. The purpose of this report is to provide background information regarding the proposed consent applications and to seek the requisite direction of council. So the recommendation of my report is that council advise Peterborough County Land Division that the township endorses these applications to create 2 new building lots being referenced as B139-22-A and B140-22A, and having an assessment roll number 1531-010-007-66700. And this application was submitted by Kevin Duque on behalf of the owner, Gord Tucker. The following conditions are part of the endorsement: that $1,000 cash in lieu be paid for each of the new lots being created. That 2, the entrance approval be obtained by Township Public Works Department for both the severed as well as the retained lots. That a rezoning of the severed lands to address any deficiencies in lot frontage as well as acreage be completed to the satisfaction of the municipality, and the balance of this report be received. So again, by way of a background, the property in question it comprises approximately 29 acres, together with roughly 316 meters of frontage on Shady Lane. And this is a municipally maintained road that is, I believe, maintained by the township. And it's the subject lands are located in part lot 31, concession 10 of the Methuen ward. The application now before council was originally filed with Peterborough County Land Division in October of 2022. A subsequent amendment to the applications was completed and again submitted to Peterborough County Land Division on November 27th, 2023. If approved, lot 1 will comprise approximately 1.3 acres in area, together with 25 meters of frontage being maintained along Shady Lane. And lot 2 will comprise 0.71 acres, together with roughly 59 meters of frontage on Shady Lane as well. So township staff did a comprehensive review of the application in conformity with to determine if there is conformity with the official plan. I believe there is conformity with the official plan. The only policy that is stated is that if there's any deficiencies in site metrics like acreage frontage, that zoning bylaw amendments can be utilized. And in this case, again, I guess this is a good time to talk about the zoning bylaw. The subject property is currently zoned rural. In the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw, single detached dwelling units are permitted in the rural zone, provided that the new parcels have a minimum lot area of translating 3,035 square meters to 0.3 hectares, and a minimum lot frontage of 45 meters. As indicated in the applications, however, and previously again mentioned in my report, severed lots 1 and 2 include certain deficiencies in either acreage and frontage. Therefore, it is recommended that a condition be placed to ensure that the lands be rezoned to acknowledge these deficiencies. So, bearing that condition, it is the township's planning opinion that the proposed consent applications conform to both the township's official plan and the zoning bylaw. In that, it's my report.
Sorry, good job explaining that. So once again, we do have a recommendation here. What's council's thoughts? You want to move the recommendation?
Sure, Member Martin, yes, I reviewed this with Arnie earlier, and with the conditions, with the township and rezoning, I would pass this.
Okay, so it's moved by Councillor Clement that we recommendation. Is there a seconder?
I just had a question.
Okay, so seconded with a question.
Yeah, sorry, you said this was previously approved by county, so they've changed something in the application.
Through you, Mayor Martin. I believe the application actually did come before Township Council. It was originally for the creation of 3 lots. However, I believe that one of the lots was within 120 meters of a wetland. So by way of provincial policy, certain studies were required. Therefore, the applicants had revised the plans and now it's proposed that 2 lots be created. Thank you.
And the agent is here, so that's correct. Okay. All right then. So I do have a mover and second. Are there any other questions with regards to this application? All in favor of the application? And that's carried. Okay. The next item here is creation of a right-of-way for Mason. Aria?
Through you, Mayor Martin, members of council, that's correct. The creation of a right-of-way application B-89-23. Applicant is Mr. Mason, I believe. The purpose of this report is to provide background information regarding the proposed creation of a new right-of-way. And to seek the requisite direction of council. The recommendation in my report is that council advise Peterborough County Land Division that the township endorses the subject application. And the subject application, again, is for the creation of a right-of-way being referenced as B-89-23 and having an assessment roll number of 1531-010-003-17100. And this application was submitted by Jim Baird on behalf of the property owners, Stuart and Marilyn Mason, with the following conditions. That the severed parcel being a right-of-way as identified on consent application B-89-23 be registered on title, and that's the only condition actually. The balance of this report be received. Just going through a little bit of background of this subject property. The property in question comprises approximately 67 hectares, which translates to about 165 acres of land, together with 1,173 meters of frontage on Belmont Lake. The property is located in the Belmont ward and is also located in part lots 16 and 17, concession 3. The subject lands do have a municipal address of 2426 County Road 48. And the application now before council was filed with Peterborough County Land Division in September of 2023. This is a pretty straightforward application. The township's official plan does have policies, in particular policy 2.2.2.1 of the official plan, which states that consents for technical or legal reasons, which would have the effect of creating easements, right of ways, or any adjustment to lot line boundaries be permitted. Therefore, on the basis of this application and the review of the application, township staff are satisfied that the application does conform with the official plan. The current lands, and going into the zoning bylaw, the current lands are currently zoned as rural in Schedule A of the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw. There is no new development being proposed on either of the severed lands or the retained law. This is just more or less for a right of way legalization. And on that basis, it is therefore recommended that township council endorse the application. And that concludes our.
Area. So, yeah, I'm gonna open up to council. There's the recommendation again here. This one's been around a long time. I think there's been a lot of little tweaking going on, so I think.
Yeah,
pretty familiar.
Familiar with the property. I think this is around we did some rezoning of some of those lots for a family out on the lake, so this will help those families get to their cottage in a less bumpy manner, so I'll move the recommendation then.
Yeah, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we move the recommendation. Is there a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Flagler. Any questions or comments around this application? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, and the final planning report here with Aria is proposed zoning bylaw housekeeping amendment with regards to shipping containers.
Through to you, Mayor Martin, members of council. Yes, the subject application is proposed zoning bylaw housekeeping amendments pertaining to shipping containers. So the purpose of this report is to summarize the proposed housekeeping amendments to the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw number 1995-42 as amended. So the recommendation is that council receive this report for information, and if they so choose, provide commentary for further implementation by township staff. As well as that council directs staff to proceed with the giving of a notice for statutory public meeting to consider the proposed amendments. So by way of background, during the December 5th, 2023 open council session, Township Council authorized staff via resolution R-637-23 to proceed with the preparation of a housekeeping or draft housekeeping amendment to the township's comprehensive zoning bylaw in order to permit the use of shipping containers in certain zones. And this would be across the township, obviously subject to certain regulations and restrictions as well. As directed, a revised draft bylaw has been prepared, which accompanies this report. At this juncture, it would be appropriate for council to consider the proposed changes and provide commentary if need be. It would also be appropriate for council to authorize staff to schedule the statutory public meeting for the purposes of one, gathering the information, but also the passing of the bylaw. And that is by way of the resolution that was passed in December 2023. So in summary, the draft bylaw proposes to permit the use of shipping containers as accessory structures in the rural zone, in the agricultural zone, all commercial, as well as all industrial zones. There is a set limit for how many shipping containers are permitted in each respective zone. There are also regulations in place regarding lot line setbacks, lot coverage, the maximum size allocation, acreage requirements, etc. And this concludes my report, all of which is respectfully submitted for council's consideration.
Aria, any questions for Aria with regards to this? It is just an update and kind of bring it into with the rest of our bylaws. So recommendation here about bringing it to a zoning meeting, so,
Yeah, I'll move the recommendation, just with a question.
yeah.
Do we have any like time frame for when that public meeting might be?
Through to you, Mayor Martin, it could be as early as April.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
If we get more time.
I wasn't talking that fast, but I would like, I'd like to see it, yeah, maybe obviously during the summer months here, while we have, you know, the cottagers and everybody's around here, so. If we could get it done over the summer, that would be great. So,
So you're moving it.
yeah, I'll move the motion.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Second by Councillor Clement with a question.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Going to the rural ones, Ari, I forgot to ask you this earlier, but it says it must be properly screened from public view. What exactly, how do you do that?
Through to you, Mayor Martin. Great eye, Councilor Clement. Mainly that's just to ensure that the structure is not built in the front. Let's just say I own a rural lot. This table is my lot and my house is right here. It's not to put it right here. That's not the intent of the bylaw. Accessory structures are to be placed in the towards the rear. This is not to say that one cannot apply for an application for a minor area. However, the intent of the bylaw is that the shipping containers are on lots that have sufficient acreage to allow for them to be kind of tucked away.
Thank you.
Okay, so I do have a mover and a seconder. Any other questions for Arya? Question, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, so that's the end of the planning report. We don't have any delegations today. So we'll move into staff report for information. There is 4 reports here. And the first one was the building department update. That was for February. Okay, and we have the drinking water report, the annual drinking water report. Any questions around that? Department update for public works. And the department update for Parks and Rec. Anything here you have any questions on? Now's the time, or motion to receive them? Okay, motion to receive the reports. Moved by Councillor Clement. Seconder. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor?
Question.
Yeah.
Yes, what are we passing here?
The
If
report,
you grouped a whole bunch of them together, so. Which ones are grouped here?
so we get staff reports for information.
Yeah, I
What
saw
they
that.
are is there's no motions to be made with them, but if you have any questions, now's the time to ask the question. So if you have any questions with regards to those 4 reports.
Could I have a few minutes then to go through the reports?
Well, most people go through them when they review their agenda and preparing for the meeting. Like I have lots wrote on here, but
It's not possible to go one at a time?
I just might one at a time. So I'll go through them again. So the reports for information are the building activity report for February. The annual drinking water report with Aqua and. Next one is, go ahead.
Question for the building report.
Sure.
In terms of the numbers, Travis, are we about on par with where last year? I know you might not have those.
No, the permits are maybe down a little bit, but it's. Certainly pick up there now, and if I may just. With the building department report this month, I've included the letter that's gonna go out for the renewal fees. Cause council probably will get the odd call about those when people receive their letters, but we've been through the process, added it in our building bylaw. And now we're gonna start sending out some letters.
Okay, thank you, Travis. So the next item was the drinking water report. Then we have the department update from Peter for the public works.
Question, Peter, do the lids on our containers, are they hydraulic or not?
Through you, Mayor Martin, on which containers are we?
At the 6th aligned,
No, through you, Mayor Martin, no, they're not, they're just operated by hand.
okay, thank you.
Okay, and the final report there was the supervisor of Parks and Recreation, department update there too.
Am I just start this one you said?
Parks and Rec update.
Yeah, I was wondering, is Josh online? It's a question, but.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh.
Morning.
Hey, Mr. Mayor. Josh, I was just wondering if you had an update on how things were going with the new ball field / pickleball court up there.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So just recently last week that property was surveyed.
Perfect.
Thank
Do you have any time frame in terms of when we might, start to put up fences and that? I know we still have to wait for. But
Through you, Mayor Martin, I'm unaware of any timelines as of right now. We will update council once we hear something.
thanks very much, Josh.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Somebody needs to turn theirs on.
There, go ahead.
All right, let's try this again. There we go. Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, just further to that question. Staff will be meeting with our consultant, Unity Design, with respect to that project. We hope to meet in the next 2 weeks and further advance that project. But as our supervisor of Parks and Recreation indicated, the survey has been completed and it's on to the next step now.
Okay. Councilor Doherty, go ahead.
Josh, the application for the grant that was to be submitted by the 6th, did that get in?
I'm sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. What was that, Jerry?
It says here, just a minute. It's the capital grant application for Matheson. It said it was to be submitted before March 6th. Has that been submitted?
Through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, we submitted that.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just further to that, expand on that, I believe on the part of that application, what the grant we're applying for is to pave the parking lot for Matheson, lighting for the parking lot for Matheson, and as well, there's going to be, they call them picnic shelter out by the lookout, so where the old Matheson stone is out there. So that's all part of the grant application. I believe it comes to somewhere around 150,000 we applied for. So, and thank you very much to Josh and Leah who put a lot of hours to get that in under deadline. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. Josh, I seen you put in a report about, I can't seem to find it, I'm in a rush, sorry. For fees. Have they increased from last year, or is it the same fees? Like to use the ice rental, the not basketball, soccer field, the, baseball diamond, have those fees changed from last year?
Through you, Mayor Martin, those fees have not changed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions for staff reports for information? All right then. So look for somebody to move it. Bidman, your mover and seconder.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we have mover Councillor Clement, seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb.
Okay. I'm gonna call a question. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, then, next is staff reports for follow-up action. And the first report on here is Travis with regard to the animal control bylaw.
Council. As discussed and proposed through the budget process, the purpose of this report is to seek council's approval to revise the animal control bylaw to include short-term wording for fines under the AMP system bylaw and enter into an agreement with Peterborough Humane Society for the purposes of enforcing animal control. And much like Ms. Haig does now, animal control and Peterborough Humane Society Their role would be specifically to dogs and cats. The other few items in here that would be very limited would be enforced by our bylaw enforcement officers here at the township. So currently, the animal control bylaw does not include short form wording for fines. And it's often the repeat offenders that we deal with, so we're proposing to put those short form wording, sorry, my voice is not great today. Short form wording in there. Through the AMP bylaw. Prior to AMP, we would send the short form wording off to the Ministry of Attorney in general. To review the short form wording and approve. In this case, because we go through AMP, the short form wording has been reviewed and approved by our municipal solicitor. And he's provided comments on here and has no concern with the agreement or the bylaw as drafted. And as discussed through the budget process, the cost of the agreement is $6,000 per year with a 1% increase per year. And this is paid monthly installments and covers any and all town service fees. It's the recommendation. To repeal animal control bylaw 2143 and pass the revised draft bylaw. And the council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with Peterborough Humane Society for the purposes of animal control, and further, the bylaw 2006-39 be repealed for Deborah Haig, and it should remain on contract for the purposes of livestock evaluation on an as-needed basis.
Okay. So the recommendation is here. It's going a little different direction. So we wouldn't use Deb at all then anymore, or?
Not for the purposes of animal control, but for livestock evaluation, yes.
Okay. Councilor Doherty, go ahead.
Questions for you, Chair. So obviously this is more than a 1-year contract and if we're doing 1%. Did we sign more than 1-year contract with them? Peterborough Humane Society.
So it's 1-year contract. There's a termination clause in there that it can be terminated at any time with a certain number of days notice.
Yeah, no, I just wondered with the 1%.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
So
It'll be brought forward a budget for council each year going forward as well. Just
and have we got quotations from, I don't know what Marmor does or Camelford does, but is there any other closer one around? Have we, or we have tried that and
through Mr. Mayor, there's Peterborough Humane Society is the player. Yeah.
okay, this is one follow-up question if I may, future.
Yeah.
So if you call the Peterborough Humane Society, they come down, they catch the offender and take it back to Peterborough, and immediately after that, the owner picks it up. So does the owner pay the hourly cost and the mileage that Peterborough Humane Society charges us?
Through Mr. Mayor, typically that's our enforcement role. It'd be no different than we don't charge the owners the fees for our services for bylaw enforcement. We have AMP in here in the Part 1 offenses that we can implement if we need to recoup some costs. But the cost of them coming down their hourly rate and mileage would be the township's cost.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Oh, just for clarification, say someone had a problem with, we'll use cats because they've been here recently. Would they phone us or would they phone the Humane Society to do?
They could go either. They would phone the Humane Society direct, and we'll have our website updated so that they can contact us as well. And as much as Peterborough Humane Society is the person that deals with those, if we had a complaint of a dog at the park, for example, and somebody phoned it in, I mean, we're right here close. There's Mike, Dale there appointed as bylaw enforcement officer. We can get there possibly and deal with that much faster than dragging the Humane Society out here.
So like pretty much anything, like you said, that's kind of easy we could deal with, and anything that might get a little bit complicated, it's probably better let them deal with it because they're the experts.
Yes, and that's part of the reason we have the short form wording in there as well, as we can issue an offense to recoup some of those costs.
And thank you for bringing that up, because that's my next question. Just for people, can you just explain short form wording? Because I know we get what you're getting at, but
yeah, so the short form wording is, we talked about it for parking tickets and other bylaws. through in the bylaw itself. Schedule D outlines the short form wording, and most of the penalties in there are between $100 and $200. If we go for one, for example, fail to keep dog on leash, it's a $200 fine. If somebody gets a call, complaint, Humane Society goes out there, the dog's at large, Humane Society has the ability to issue a ticket for $200. Thank you, Travis. And any bylaw enforcement officer is.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see, Mayor Martin. So the fees that we're paying for the Humane Society, and then the fees for them to drive down here and pick up are extra fees. Am I correct on that?
Pretty much random fees per call would be in addition to the $6,000.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead.
One more question.
Yep.
AMP service. I'm drawing a blank on just exactly what that is. I know what it is, but what program are they using?
Sorry, through this, which program is who?
Well, the AMP service is an online service, is it not?
Our administrative monetary penalty bylaw.
Yes.
Yes, so that one's is through our township, so there's a couple of things to follow this report that we'll get to as well. So the AMP bylaw we had passed previously.
That's our bylaw.
And yeah, the process, if somebody does get a ticket, there's a process to go through the screenings officer or to appeal that to the hearings officer, and there's a report later where we are going to appoint the hearings officer. We go through the interviews, and when someone is successful, Bob has a report to appoint that person today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Travis? All right, so we have a recommendation here with regards to the animal control bylaw. You know, with the Humane Society, so I'll look for them. Deputy Mayor Webb, moving it. Do I have a seconder? Councilor Clement? Any other questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, the next item on here is with regard to the AMP bylaw and revisions. So Travis?
The three, Mr. Mayor, and maybe just touch on Councilor Langer's comments there now. So with the AMP bylaw, Mike, Sonia, and Leah have worked very hard to get a page ready for our website. Leah, before she went on holidays, has that page ready to go. So we just needed the amended bylaws. Here are the numbers that are going to be passed today, hopefully. And then that page will go live tomorrow or this week, which has the full explanation of AMP, the process. It will be live here as of tomorrow if the bylaws are passed. And so the purpose of this report is to seek council approval to amend the AMP bylaw 2385 to include animal control bylaw and revise the noise, clean, clear off-road vehicle property standard bylaws to include wording as per Schedule C of bylaw 2385 and additional minor amendments. The township most recently approved the AMP bylaw December 5th, 2023. And it was inclusive of off-road vehicle property standards, clean, clear, noise, and the ORV bylaw. The one that's new today to that will be the animal control bylaw. So within Schedule C, there was wording changed under off-road vehicle bylaw, property standard bylaw, clean yard bylaw, and noise bylaw. So those have all been implemented into the bylaws themselves, which is why there's so much information attached to these reports, but the amendments are very minor in each bylaw. We've included the entire bylaw for each one. So while we were amending the bylaws, we thought it best to include the additional items Accelerated fines are proposed in the following bylaws. So we've included accelerated fines in the off-road vehicles. And that's where the repeat offenders up to 180 days. So if you catch somebody on an off-road vehicle, for example, in the Matheson property, and then you catch them again within the 180 days, those fines would be doubled. And at the same time, in the property standards bylaw and the clean and clear bylaw, we've included the 30-day accelerated fines similar to we already have in our bylaw. And last item is to include the animal control bylaw in the AMP bylaw. So the one that we just passed will now be included in the AMP bylaw with Schedule A to Table 6 being the animal control bylaw short form wording. As far as financial impact, by implementing these short form wordings and the accelerated fines, will help recoup some of the costs. Recommendation, the council forward the following bylaws to the bylaw section of the agenda for passage. The amended administrative penalty system bylaw 23-85, off-road vehicle bylaw, property standards bylaw, clean yard bylaw, noise bylaw, and animal control bylaw, and that the balance of this report.
Thank you, Travis. So, what's council's thoughts here?
I think this is something council kind of asked for through the years. I like the accelerated fines for habitual offenders. This is the kind of thing that we're trying to stomp out. So for those people that keep doing it, it's nice to see that. Clarification, Travis. So it says, I'll just property standards bylaw, like clause 2.1 there. It says person who contravenes this bylaw may be subject to an accelerated penalty. If a second violation occurs within 30 days, the penalty will be doubled of the prescribed fine. So I imagine if it's 100, then it'd be 200. So then the next one, in the event of a third, the penalty will double that of the accelerated set fine. So is that double the 200? 200. Okay. Is there a way we can? I don't. Maybe that's clear. But I'm just.
Yeah. So I believe it does get more clear in the app bylaw itself.
Okay. I think that's where I was going with you, but I just wasn't sure because it just says accelerated. It doesn't really have any numbers, but thank you for clarifying that.
Through you, Mayor Martin, perhaps we can put an example on our website when we post these, and it would be easier to understand, but it absolutely is double or the accelerated.
Quadruple the original, right?
So we go as high as you like, sir.
Oh, he's done it fine. He's in fine. So
yeah, and yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor, once the AMP page goes live on the website, have a look at it, and Leah and them have done an amazing job on it. But if you have comments, please let us know.
all I was thinking of was so eventually if somebody gets hit with that, they're gonna go, they're gonna read it and go, oh, it should be 300 instead of 4, right? So if, as you said, if we just have an example or something there that
And we've got quite a number of common questions, and if that one's not in there, we'll make sure it is.
thank you, Travis. Appreciate it. So yeah, I'll move the motion in there.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we go with the recommendation. Do I have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Clement with a question.
Just, I want to make sure, like, Travis said, if something will be on the site saying. Thank you.
Okay, so seconded by Councillor Clement. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, to Travis, sorry. What's the timing on these things to move them forward after the 30 day, like they haven't resolved the problem within the 30 days, they double the fine, then what happens?
So the 3 of us, if we I don't know, an example like clean yard, property standard.
Yeah, clean yard, if you go in and give them notice and then you give them another notice and now they're at the 400 threshold, we've got no money. What happens now? After that, or
So 3, Mr. Mayor, if they ignore the fine or don't pay the fine, that fine gets added to their taxes. Goes through their taxation.
okay, thanks, Trevor.
Yeah. Any other questions? Right then, I'm gonna call a question, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next item on here is cloud permit bylaw module there, Travis.
You, Mr. Mayor, again, as discussed and proposed throughout the budget process, the purpose of this report is to seek council approval to enter into a service agreement with cloud permit for the bylaw module. We briefly discussed this through the budget process. So we currently use cloud permit for both planning and building. And one of the items under building that this here will assist with is the issuance of orders. So currently, if you went to issue an order to comply or a stop work order under the building module, it would have to be for a property that has a building permit. So 95% of the orders we issue are for build without permit. So that would all fall under the bylaw module. So when somebody's building without permit, they would issue the order to comply under the bylaw module and would be tracked accordingly through there. All complaints for bylaw enforcement would also go through here. And then Sonia would be similar to a triage. She would, if it's a parking infraction, for example, it would be Mike that goes and deals with it. If it's build without permit or planning zoning, it would be typically myself or Dale that would deal with those ones. So she would send them out accordingly. And if it's dog complaints, whatever type of complaint it is, could go through here and be handled up. So the cost of the bylaw module is $1,800 per year plus applicable HST. Typically, there's $1,000 implementation fee, which Dr. Cloud permit and willing to waive that. The agreement has also been reviewed by applicable municipal staff and the municipal solicitor. No concerns have been raised. What's the recommendation of staff? With the report from the chief building official regarding the cloud permit application be received as presented, and the staff are hereby directed to include the cloud permit bylaw module application in future budgets going forward. And that the chief administrative officer clerk is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with cloud permit for the purposes of plan enforcement module.
Yeah. Right, any questions for Travis with regards to that one? Councilor Flagler, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So the AMP program is gonna go through cloud permits. I'm a little bit eerie on cloud permit. I have read the actual agreement of it. And if there is, for myself, if I don't want to be on cloud permit, is there another option that people can do? Like if I get a ticket for parking, can I just go down and pay the ticket? Like that doesn't put me on cloud permit, does it? Like, I'm just not understanding how cloud permit is fitting in with our AMP and like the bylaws, like your building department, I understand that because you need those reports right in front of you. So that does make your job a little easier. That's kind of my question. Is there an option for someone that does not want to be on cloud permit?
Mr. Mayor,
Considered?
just so I guess I understand the question in the scenario. In this case, for the bylaw module, when we receive a complaint, that complaint would be with respect to a person or property. And that would go in the cloud permit. We would then follow up on it. Like let's say Mike goes out to a site for property standards. The complaint would have come in, he would attend the site. And he'd be able to take his pictures, put them in cloud permit. All notes would be able to go in live time on site. So that anybody that has to deal with that complaint in-house only with permissions to cloud permit would be able to track that. Right now, the process for complaints, Mike has paper notes Sometimes those paper notes are with Mike at home or wherever, and then we have to scan them into the computer system. And track them that way. So I'm not sure that answers your question.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, that does answer my question. So if I get a ticket or my dog barks and somebody don't like that, I'm automatically put on cloud permit so that you can keep track of me.
To keep track.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Right. So my question is there another option? Cloud permit seems to me to be, oh, what do you call them? Not really a company, it's just a web page. From what my understanding is it, and when I read the actual agreement that we are doing with them. And the onus, if something happens where my information is stolen and now I get emails and phone calls or whatever happens, the onus is on me because I allowed it to be on there. Like, is there something that the township is doing to protect our residents, like our information out there, like our names, our telephone numbers, our email addresses? I mean, I receive emails from Jim, which his emails has gotten hacked. And people do, like, their emails do get hacked, and then that's where you're gonna get caught into something that if somebody doesn't want to, is what I'm saying, is there something else out there that we can do that will protect, like, I really think our residents need to know a little bit more about cloud permit before we move forward. That's just my concern.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, as far as phone numbers, emails, nobody's asking that you put your phone number or email in there if you don't want it.
Right.
Cloud permit is, they've got probably over 50 municipalities that they provide the service for. We already use them for both building and planning. This is just for bylaw enforcement. Not sure. There's
So I just,
cloud permit is as far as them being a company or whichever it was you refer to them, they have a great support staff. Anytime we have any issues or concerns with them, we can send a ticket in, we get a response back most times within the same day.
so the bylaw module, is it the same as the building module? Like when you said it's a bylaw module that we're adding these things to it, is it in the same, like some of it you said was in-house, a lot of it's in-house, it's not, or is it exact same as the building one? Like as far as that?
It's the same company, but it's like they'd be able to submit your complaints through there, and it's really a tracking system for all our information to stay in. As far as like right now, it's scattered through the records drive, some's papered, some's and then staff would have to go, like if Mike has notes at home, we don't have them in-house. Now, when we have a bylaw enforcement issue, any complaint, it's all in here at Sonia's fingertips, my fingertips, Mike's, whoever needs them, it's all tracked through there.
Yeah, like I know a couple of years ago, everything at the county went cloud because we don't have enough room to store everything. So it was to get it up for that. And I think we did similar here as far as a lot of our records have gone digital rather than try and fill the basement up. So is that what this is going to help and that sort of stuff?
Yes, yeah, there'd be no more.
Kind of like your phone and your cloud on there for all your pictures, same thing?
Same thing, yeah.
Okay.
The pictures would be taken and added to the cloud permit file. But each complaint would have its own individual.
Go ahead. Deputy Mayor Webb, did you have a question?
Well, no, but I guess I'll comment. I understand it's gonna be easier, that's by all means, but I think what Councillor Flagler is getting at is, you know, I don't think this is gonna be across the board, but what if we have 2, 3, 4 people that say, don't want to use the cloud permit, is that a big issue for us to do those by hand? Right? Like in terms of,
So I think you're, through Mr. Mayor, I think you're getting back and forth between the modules, like there's absolutely nothing that requires the public to use cloud permit for the bylaw. They can bring their complaint form in writing, we'll scan it in, start the file in cloud permit, and then everything will be tracked that way through cloud permit, so. If you're crossing building, planning and bylaw, but for bylaw,
well, no, but
just a tracking system for our.
but it's still going into cloud permit. So that's I think what she's getting at is that that's a separate entity that has, you know, your information. And if somebody came in and just said that we wanted it the old way with the pictures in the paper, would that be a big ask on our end in terms of?
So the old way with the pictures in the paper would be, they're gonna be stored in the records drive. Sonia's gonna then scan them into the records drive, start a file in the records drive. So it's still gonna be all digital. There's gonna be no paper files.
Understood, but it's not really in the cloud. That's more kind of in our, it'd be in our files, right? As a municipal office.
Through Mr. Mayor, maybe Bob can say where our stuff is stored. I'm not sure.
Through you, Mayor Martin, we do work with Microwave as our other technology provider, and our files currently, we do have a hard drive here in our building, and Microwave has informed us that our files are stored in the cloud.
Councillor Doherty and then Councillor Clyburn.
I'm a little confused as to. If we get a complaint, we're concerned whether they want to do it under the cloud or whether they want to do it paper. I'm not sure if we have a complaint under a bylaw, whether like, how do we ask the customer when they phone in, do you want that in paper or do you want me to do it electronically? Because it would be an address and a name, would it not be? And then this would allow us to proceed with the follow-up action on it. Is that the main function of the?
So through you,
I'm just trying to get my arms around it.
When you receive a complaint, it's gonna have an address, it's gonna have what the complaint is. They may not know the owner's name of the property, but yeah, so then we follow up on the complaint.
But it's complaint-based system still, right?
It's a complaint-based system for building, for bylaw enforcement.
Bylaw enforcement.
Building items, if somebody's building without a permit and we see it, we have a job under the Building Code Act to do.
No, just under the bylaw
module are complaint driven.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Clyburn.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Travis, okay, so there's complaints that go into the cloud permit. You've already stated, so if I have a building permit but my dog barked and then I have a fraction on my house, right? It's all on cloud permit. Can you see that? Can you see everything that I've done? Yes.
Can I see it?
Yes.
Yes. So when we pull up a property, I can see if there's open building permits.
Okay.
Closed building permits. I
Okay.
can see if there's been consent applications applied for. I can see as we move forward with planning through it. I can see if there's minor variances, pre-consultations. I can see preliminary severance review forums. I can see hopefully bylaw enforcement complaints as well.
So you see everything that I've done in this township on that iCloud. That's okay.
As it relates to a specific property.
As it relates, okay, so then if Kathy is on cloud permit, can she see my stuff?
No.
She go in there and check to
So
see, oh, did I get a dog ticket this week or did I get a parking ticket?
No, so as a as the municipality, we can see all that and, because you can turn on different users, so in the office, we can have Mike turned on for bylaw enforcement, so he sees bylaw enforcement stuff. He doesn't need to see billing, he doesn't need to see tire. As the owner, when you submit an application, then you, as the applicant, can create a workspace, create an account, submit that application. You can invite all the parties you want to see that, or nobody other than you and the municipality.
Right, but once I do that though, then it voids the cloud permit, because if my information gets stolen because I used a third party. In the actual agreement, it does state that. Then it's my responsibility. That was my fault. So, I mean, this company doesn't seem to stick behind its product.
Well, so
I don't
I
know.
would, through you, Mr. Mayor, I would disagree with that 100%.
Okay,
And I think we're
we're getting to
mixing modules and you're getting into the building module for different reasons.
yes,
This is specifically for bylaw enforcement complaints.
okay,
So the reason we got into monetary penalties, where this all started from was with regards to a lot of parking infractions that we had no control of. As much as we have a no parking sign up, we don't have any fines or anything. So last year we started this and we had two options. We went in-house. Our choice was to go in-house with it. We could have went with the county and did it with theirs. Are they doing the same thing, Cloud, or are they, like, what's their model? Do you know? I don't want to take it off track here, but it's just, would it have been the same thing?
So Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure what
Okay.
county uses for their
All right.
tracking system, bylaw enforcement.
I'll just clarify at least my position. I don't have a problem with the cloud because I understand it helps staff, it makes things easier. My problem is as I said, the odd time we might have somebody that doesn't want to use that. And if the number is so low, to my point, I asked the CEO, we've had I believe. I think we've had one, in 2 or 3 years, somebody that's not wanting to put it on cloud. So if those numbers are so low, what's the problem with us doing it that way?
For the bylaw.
We are, yeah, we're in the service industry. We're here to serve the public, right? So it's like, to me, it's not an overdue burden in terms of on our staff if we're only doing 1 or 2 of these a year. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
So my problem is, I wonder if it crosses over though, because if we're letting it for some and not for others, we can't control if somebody phones and complains about Joe Blow that doesn't want their name on there. But it's automatically gonna go in because they're putting in the property number, so we're gonna enter it in, even though those people don't know that it's gonna be entered in. It's out there, right? It's like, it's hard to go halfway into this. It's almost, but there is people that are gonna come in, they're not gonna enter, lots of people don't enter into the computer, they'll come into the office and they'll do it the old way, but it will get entered in the end to the cloud, right? Yeah.
Through Mr. Mayor, that's no different than what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Claim forms can be handed in on paper forms. We scan them in, they go through the server and saved in the cloud.
So through you, Mayor Martin, and just bear with me for a second. I'll try to summarize because a lot of these issues are entangled. The administrative penalty system, the monetary penalty system, and short form wording and all those things. Previously, any bylaw that had a ticket attached to it that we could penalize someone for an infraction was previously done through the court system. So the administrative monetary penalty system brings that in-house where we can now ticket and collect and control that entire process. Therefore, we have a number of bylaws to change some wording in those bylaws to allow us to do that. This bylaw module is strictly a bylaw enforcement module. So someone brings forward a complaint, they can bring it to us in paper. We have no objection to that. Or they can fill it out online. We have both options. It simply allows us to track the issue that someone has complained about. So if there are multiple complaints on a property, we have a file that we can look at and all the pictures and all the comments and all the issues are there. Now, it mirrors exactly the same as what we had in paper before. We used to have a paper file that we would go into and we'd have to look through and look at the paper and that's fine. We have that. This is the same thing. It's digital. The advantage is it allows us to handle complaints more efficiently for both the complainant who wants an issue resolved and for staff who can be on site, take some pictures, put some notes right into the system. We don't have to come back and fill out the notes and then put it in the computer and that whole thing. So that is the purpose. This is strictly a bylaw enforcement module. This has nothing to do with anything else. So I don't know if that helps clarify, but that's what's going on.
Okay, sure. Okay, Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Well, we implemented the system so that we'd be able to control it here. I think it's 3 people. Mike, I think, is part-time, so many hours a week. So if we're going to keep track in real time, we can't do that with a paper base. You have to do it on cloud, because if you're out handling a complaint and say, well, I didn't make that complaint, or I didn't do it 2 weeks ago. It's real time. It corresponds to
At least I'm not making an argument that we should be going to paper and that cloud is fine. If you want to use it for 99.9% of them, I'm just saying, why does it have to be across cut and paste across the board? That like basically, that's the way it's done. You can't get it done.
Through you, Mayor Martin, just one other question for Travis. Cloud permit, you said there's 50, at least 50 municipalities in the cloud permit. What are the 350 municipalities doing for this online service? Do you know what they're using?
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, there are other companies out there that provide a similar service. I'm not sure the exact numbers on cloud permit. Last I knew it was, I've been told it's over 50 out of the 444. Pretty much slowly everybody's going that way, from paper to electronic.
Yeah.
And even with cloud permit, you asked if I can see everything. So I can see everything, yes. And when we've invested in tough books so that we have the ability to bring things up on site and do everything live time. So if I'm out or Mike's out and you want to pull up a property and see if there's a building permit on that, somebody's building a permit, or if somebody's property standards bylaw, if he wants to bring that up and see if there's complaints there, he can pull up the property and know what's going on with them.
Yes, agreed. I believe like the paper world is disappearing. I understand that. I'm just concerned with the actual company itself. Doesn't really seem to take liability for anything. I mean, if your information gets stolen, you're supposed to let them know right away, and it's just kind of on the funny side. Well, just to me, I'm just curious if there's other companies out there that someone else has, it's more reputable. How long has this one been around for? Do you know?
I don't know the time frame. I know they were in Finland, I believe, when they started, and then they've started in Canada as well. So, and they're all over the world. I'm highly recommended.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we've had some good discussion on this, and so there's a few options here. The one is to go with the recommendation. The other option would be to defer it to get more information, or turn it down completely. So you know, there is a recommendation here, and I'm just going to open up the council and see what your thoughts are. You know, it is the way of the times, and I know it's hard for some people, but it's just, and I'm sure there will be things entered in on paper, like you say, but that being said, they're gonna end up going to the cloud. The same as the filling side of it. They go, we can help with that, but everything goes online after, same as this meeting, all that stuff that was online today. So anyways, what's your thoughts here? Okay,
Through your chair, I'll make a recommendation that we approve the cloud system for the bylaw portion of it. That's what we're talking about, is the bylaw enforcement on it. And I would make that recommendation.
all right, so I have a mover. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay,
It's May,
with that,
May. No. I'm not in favor of that.
okay, well,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Call it for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I got you.
So the next item on here is updates of fees and services. Travis,
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, the changes we've made in the previous bylaw, the ant bylaw, and the addition of the animal control bylaw, which required renumbering. Also been an item included for taxi cab license fees. Proposing to update the fees for services and activities Schedule A. And through this process, we've now, instead of including bylaw numbers, we've just worded it so that it is shown as the current bylaw for animal control, or the current building bylaw, etc. So that we don't have to keep renewing this every year. We make a small change. This recommendation that council will approve the amendments to Schedule A, Table 1 for dog tags, and adding taxi cab license fees under reference to Table 2 for fees for administration, updating the corresponding bylaw references for property standards, clean, clear, sort of clean yard, and add bylaws to the current bylaw, which are being repealed in a separate report to council on the state.
okay. Thank you. Council's thoughts on this one? After Simon,
I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just an amendment, right? So. One.
okay, so move that Dr. Simon, follow the recommendation. The seconder. Dr. Doherty, seconding that. Any question, comment? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, anyway.
Okay, so our next item here is appointment of a hearings officer.
Through you, Mayor Martin, council has adopted the administrative monetary penalty system for bylaw enforcement and for ticketing of various offenses in the township. And part of adopting that system is to hire a hearings officer that will adjudicate against the decisions of the screening officer. So earlier this year, an advertisement was put out, applications were received, and interviews were conducted. And today, staff is recommending that Susan Guzzo be hired as our hearings officer and be retained on an as-needed basis to hear any complaints as required.
Okay, thank you. Hey, council, what any your thoughts here?
Recommend.
Moved by Councillor Doherty that we go with the recommendation. Seconder. Councillor Clement. Questions, comments around this? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and our final item here is communication and installation for.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. At our last council meeting, council received a delegation from EOR, who are currently in the process of increasing tower installations and increasing cell phone coverage throughout Eastern Ontario. And previously, the township worked with CRINS, a private enterprise firm that was helping to vet applications for communication towers. CRINS is no longer in business. We need to now adopt our own communication policy, and this report presents that policy for council approval.
All right. Thoughts, council? It's just one of those things that, just some changes that have been happening to help with these installations that have been going on, so. Recommendation is there, the communication tower installation policy be adopted, so reviewing proposed new communication tower installation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Liberty. Any questions around that? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, I'm gonna say we take a 10-minute break, and that's a hard 10 minutes, so it's 10 after 11, and we come back for the benefit of the people online. Yeah, well, it's a motion to 10-minute recess by Councilor Clement. Here, Councilor Flagler, all in favor? And that's carried. All right, thank you, everyone. So I'll look for a motion to resume the meeting. Moved by Councilor Doherty, seconder, Councilor Clement, all in favor, and that's carried. So we're gonna move into correspondence with action items, and there's two of them. The first is the Kosh Lake Regatta. This is something we get every year with regards to the regatta. And they're looking for us to help them on that day, so what's your thoughts?
Question through you,
Yeah.
Chair. Is this different from last year's, or is this the very same thing? And I guess I didn't notice it, but maybe it was in the past, the times it was supplied us with garbage bags or something for the dump run after the regatta is. Did we do that last year? It says we're also asking for permission to dispose of the garbage at the Oakville site free of charge on this weekend. We did that last year. How does John know? Who? Like, how does? Thank you.
But
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, this is the same as last year, and how do they know is we provide a letter in advance, and we ask them to bring the letter with them when they go to the
Okay,
transfer
good.
station, and they submit it, it's like a coupon.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good, thank you, I just.
You're welcome.
okay, Councilor Flagler?
Just one question through that. I do recall this from last year, but I do not recall us. The black mulch, she wants to change the color. Did we? I just don't recall that being in the letter from last year. So is that something that's new, or is it something that you've just done?
It's one of those things we just did, but the color thing, I haven't seen that before. It used to be red. It's just something that was done at the library. Over the years, like it's, yeah,
I don't recall that from the letter from last.
I'm not sure if it
year.
was in last year's letter. I think it just happened. I don't even think they asked for it, that we just did it. So maybe they've added that to the letter. But as part of our looking after the library, we've always, with our libraries, we usually look after things like that. But I don't know whether it was in the letter last year or not.
Is this not for the regatta?
Yeah, they use the library at the regatta too.
Josh, no, I don't.
Yeah. Josh, are you on there?
They do.
Yes, so through you, Mayor Martin, yeah, we do supply 2 bags of black mulch. It used to be red, as Mayor had said. They changed to black a few years ago. We do annually supply 2 bags of mulch. And in the letter, it didn't mention, but they also request 2 outhouses for that weekend also.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what's your thoughts here? Is there any other questions or?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, it's moved by Councilor Doherty that we support this. Seconded by Councilor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next item here is closure of the lab there in Peterborough. This came from County Council. With a letter to make our MPP and others aware that this could pose a problem.
A motion to support.
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we support this resolution. Second by Councilor Flagler. Questions, comments? Go ahead.
Oh, Well, we're, the county's writing to our member of parliament about the closing of the, that's the gist of this, I gather.
Yeah, like.
Would he not be aware of it before that?
Yeah, he's aware of it, but it's just to know that that we have some issues with it, that it means a lot to us. Just to reaffirm how important it is, so he knows. Okay,
Through you, Mayor Martin, so will we be sending a letter along, our own separate letter?
it would be a letter to support this one,
Okay, that's right, yep, yep,
okay?
thank you.
All right then, any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so there's a couple of items here for information and correspondence. The one is community policing. And the other one is technical advisory committee for the official plan modifications meeting number 3. Is there anything there that you wish to speak to? For information, but sometimes there's things in there, questions around it, so. Okay. Questions? If not, I'll look for a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconded by Councillor Clement. Any questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next item here is committee liaison reports, and the first item there is the county council update. I don't know if there's anything with regard to the Havelock-Belmont-Methuen at the last meeting. Like specific, or not?
Not that I remember. Kind of a short meeting, all I remember is the water. We had an update on the possible new watershed plan. We never really came to an agreement on that, so I think I'll leave my county report for next meeting, because there's not a whole lot there that.
And it might be something that we look at in the future, doing it monthly too. That might be
Possibly,
easier
yeah.
then.
Hopefully there'll be more on the agenda this week, so I think there is
Yeah, I
actually.
think there is. So, okay, so normally we just try
Trying
to,
to speak to the hanger, hockey thing now, or later.
in liaison or new business. So, okay, so the next item here is, liaison reports. And, the first item here is police service board meeting. We can do that in here too, start with we have the minutes here, or the agenda from March 7th. Questions around that?
No, not really. Just for members of the community, I'm probably aware of the incident we had there a couple of weeks ago on Short Street. So, and it's surrounding drugs and whatnot on a few of our residents around. I know council has received a letter from a concerned citizen just to make sure that we've that was all discussed with the OPP at the meeting, and they're well aware of the residents and areas that are causing trouble. So hopefully we'll be dealing with them in the future.
Okay. No questions, a motion to receive Mayor Webb's report. Moved by Councillor Doherty, seconder. Councillor Flagler, all in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next item here is community policing meeting October 11th and library board meeting February 15th. Is there anything you need more to add there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, any questions with regards to those two meetings? Okay, motion to receive. Moved by Councillor Doherty, seconder. Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so the next item here, we have we don't have an oral notice motion, but we do have a written notice of motion. Councillor Doherty, you have a motion here you would like to read?
Page 5 of the agenda.
That's good.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that, I put a motion that all staff reports, whether for information or for follow-up action, be considered by council individually, one report at a time, in order to allow all members of council to review, consider, or to perhaps ask a question or provide comments. And further, that all items of correspondence be considered in the same manner.
Thank you. And I do have to say I don't support this, and I'd like to explain why.
Oh, excuse me, can we have find out whether we have a second or not for that before we went to discussion?
Okay, if you would like, do we have you're moving that?
I just
You're
did.
the mover. Do we have a seconder for this? Second by Councillor Flag, or?
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so, just so you know, I don't support this. I follow parliamentary meeting procedures. As the head of council, I'm presiding officer, and I like my predecessors. I'm to conduct our meetings effectively and efficiently, and transparent, and ensure council conducts municipal business in an open and transparent manner while following our procedural bylaw. The information items on the agenda are just that, information. No motions or resolutions are required for these items. I do ask if anyone has questions on these items. I try to go through them individually, and then same goes for the correspondence. The correspondence, I've pulled them periodically. There's something I want to pull to talk about more, and that's what they're there for. But the action items are just that, the action items. So I suggest council does the same, and I'm happy to help with this. Makes notes on their agenda when they're preparing for the meeting and on the communication items. And you may need some clarification from staff. Most of those items you could go to ask staff ahead of the meeting. We do get our agendas on Friday. There is time to get clarification, but if you have to ask it here, I do ask if there's, is there anything there you want to speak to? I'd be happy to help anyone if you need help with this. I was surprised this came as a notice of motion. I'd never heard about it before. Normally we talk amongst each other and see how it bounces off other councillors or mayor. This one didn't come to me, so it was kind of a surprise when I seen it on there. So in the future, like today, we went through each thing individually, but you should be prepared. We can't hang around waiting. So if you write it on the same, you write little notes along the side here, so you're ready. And yeah, I had a question about this item or that item, and it's just to keep the meeting flowing smoothly. It's not about rushing the meeting. It's just to try and keep things moving. We can't just sit here like dead air. So anyways, so that being said, we do have a mover and a seconder for this motion. So is there any other questions or comments around it? Okay. Deputy Mayor Webb, go ahead.
I'll comment before we go to the vote. I understand in terms of where the motion's coming from. I myself have noticed a couple of times I thought maybe that we'd rush through items. That being said, to the mayor's point, he has tried to make an attempt here in the last little bit. I'm not really we have bylaws here for a reason. We've abided by them for many years. I don't see in terms of having to change the structure of our meeting to deal with this. I think as kind of the mayor alluded to there, this is something that could be done in-house if we just had maybe a little discussion between our members without having to amend a bylaw or whatnot and change the whole procedure of the meeting. So I'll just leave it at that. But as I said, I do see where the mover and the seconder are coming from on this issue. So
okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call a question. All in favor of the motion?
Oh, I have a question. Record vote, please.
Okay. Gary?
What?
Yes or no?
Yes, I'm for that.
Okay.
I
I
passed.
wanted to record a vote, so you have to.
Well, I just gave it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Bev? All right. So Myself, yeah, no. Sorry, almost. Deputy Mayor Webb.
No,
No,
Right, so that is defeated, and like I said, I'll do a better job, and I'm more than willing to help anyone. If there's something I'm doing wrong, I prefer them come and see me, and we can work through it, so. So. The next item on the agenda is other business. And. Catch up here. Okay, so I did have one thing on other business that I was looking for, and that was with regard to forming of a historical society committee, and I was looking for a motion to ask staff to prepare a what's it called, terms of reference before the summer, so we could advertise by September on forming this committee, and what the committee would look like would be a part of that motion with the terms of reference, like how many people on it. Those sort of things. We don't really have to reinvent the wheel. There's a few of them around us, but it was just a motion to see if we could get a terms of reference to get this thing moving sooner than later. So I'll look to council to see if they would support this and make a motion. You know, make the motion. Would you make the motion? I can't make a motion.
okay, I'll make the motion.
Okay, that's moved by Councillor Flagler, seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any questions or comments around it? All in favor? Oh, sorry.
well, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
it's just in terms of a time frame.
yeah, I
Because this
said
is
by the
tough.
summer to have it so we could advertise by September. So hopefully before we, before the summer break, like before June.
Yes, would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so okay.
I don't know if it's possible. I don't know, but like a terms of reference, it's and if we can get something, we might be able to advertise over the summer for September meeting or something. Just a thought. We'll see how this works out. Councillor Doherty, go ahead.
Are we going to get a look at the terms of reference, or is it just going out advertised, or what
no,
we're going to
that's-
do is it's coming back as a package then?
That's what I was like brought back by June, if possible, something for us to look at and set the perimeters. Okay, did I, all in favor? Did I do that?
Let's do it again. Go ahead.
Okay, all in favor, and that carried. Okay, Deputy Mayor Webb, you had an event happening here?
Oh, we all do.
Yeah, no, but you wanted to speak to it, sorry.
Yeah, so council has invited the Peterborough Pete's down to our arena tomorrow, so they will be at our arena practicing from 3 o'clock till 4 o'clock. I believe at 4 o'clock there'll be a flood, and I think afterwards there's gonna be a 20 to 30-minute session where local kids or whoever can go out on the ice with the Pete's and get some pictures taken and whatnot. And afterwards, there will be a couple of our local ladies organizations, church organizations have cooked some chili, so there'll be chili and buns and pizza there. I think obviously the hockey players will be upstairs eating. But and this will be upstairs at the Lions Hall. I think they'll also use that for any young kids that want autographs or pictures to be taken with the Pete's. That would be available too, and a nice I guess donation or gesture of generosity from the Pete's. They're bringing with them an autographed jersey, so the Pete's jersey autographed by the whole team, and that will be donated to our Minor Hockey Association. And they're gonna run a raffle to raise money. Obviously, we know that they can use all the money they can get, so they're gonna run a raffle as well as a 50-50. So I don't know if the shirt will actually be handed out tomorrow or they'll just be selling tickets. I haven't spoken with them about that, but really looking forward to it. I believe we had them here 15 years ago or some 20 years. I remember them coming, I was much younger. But nice for the community to have this. As I said, nice to invite everybody to come out and kind of support minor hockey because they'll be there obviously. But if we can come out and buy some tickets and put some money in their pockets to help them out a little bit, it'd be nice. So
Sounds good.
I know Councillor Doherty will be there. season ticket holder, so he'll be looking for autographs
So.
and their hockey cards.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It
Bring your skates.
sounds like a good time. So,
And just quickly, and thank you very much to the Peterborough Pete's for obviously doing this, and then thank you to former employee of ours, Doug Hart, who actually set this up and kind of brought it all to fruition, so.
so as council is helping, like you said, you helped.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yeah, so as a part of this, I was gonna ask council. Because as I said, we are providing the food and the pizza, so I was gonna ask council if we could possibly take $500 from council initiatives to cover the costs of running the event. Which would be for pizza, water, chili supplies. I forgot to. Another local resident, Vicky Blakely, is making a huge Peterborough Pete's cake with OHL champions on it, so that will be there too, so.
Yeah, so that's up to 500.
Yeah, sorry, yes, it's up to 500, yeah, hopefully, it won't be the 500, I just. Okay, I'll make the motion, thank you.
Okay, so that's moved by Councillor Doherty that we support it with council initiatives and seconded by Councillor Clement. Questions, comments? Go ahead, Beth.
Just one, I think you've already answered it, but I'll ask again anyway. So there's no cost to anyone that wants to go in?
No cost, I believe the pizza upstairs for our resident, there will be a cost if you want to buy a piece of pizza or something like that. I don't know what the chili. And obviously, we're not charging the players or whatnot. So, but yeah, to actually come to the event itself and get autographs, pictures, no cost at all.
No, okay, thank you.
So
That will be brought to you by council. Council
Thank
we won't be out skating with them.
Well, I read on the internet that Jim, that you were gonna be playing net, Mr. I'm sure there's a few people, a few residents out there that would like to fire a frozen piece of rubber at the mayor.
Yeah,
Come on out tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
we can't make it that easy. So, okay, all right, so.
I might do.
Yep. Move it, seconder, and all in favor?
Yep, moved by Councillor Doherty, seconded by Councillor
Okay.
Clement.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna move into bylaws. We have a number of them here, so bear with me. The first one we already did. The second bylaw is bylaw 2024-23, being a bylaw to regulate the keeping of animals within the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen and establish an agreement with the Humane Society. We didn't do the bylaws, or we haven't done any bylaws.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So that's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Second by Councillor Flagler, all in favor, carried. The next item is bylaw 2024-24, bylaw to permit and regulate operation of off-road vehicles on municipal roads, highways within the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. Moved by Councillor Clement. Seconder. Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor, and that's carried. Next one here is 2024-25, being a bylaw for prescribing standards for the maintenance and occupancy of the property standards bylaw. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, seconder. Councillor Clement. All in favor, it's carried. 2024-26 bylaw respecting litter, yard waste, and the maintenance of property is clean yard bylaw.
Can we not do this?
Yeah.
All together?
Yes, you can.
Can they all be done together?
Sure you
That's what okay, so we'll finish that one.
Okay, good.
So that's clean yard, that's moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Seconder. Councillor Clement, all in favor, and that's carried. And then the balance of those bylaws. Moved by
See a record.
Deputy Mayor Webb, yeah, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. These are just the bylaws from previous discussions.
You're welcome. We've been busy.
Seconder for that, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so the next item on here is closed session. So look for motion to go into closed session, council meeting, held under section 239 2D of the Municipal Act. E25 for personal matters, but identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. So motion to go into closed. Moved by Councilor Clement, second by Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor? That's carried. Okay. So moved by Councilor Clement, seconder, Councilor Doherty, all in favor? And that's carried. And the motion from closed session. Well, when you catch up,
Yes, all right. So the motion is that council confirms the use of cloud permit software for application for building permits.
and it was recorded.
Recorded vote requested by Councilor
Yes.
Flagler. So we're gonna go around the table then. Councilor Clement.
For.
Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Flagler.
No.
And Councilor Doherty.
Yes.
The motion is carried 4-1.
Okay. Alright. Thank you, everyone. So the next item on here is the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Somebody want to move that? Councilor Clement, Deputy Mayor Webb, all in favor? And that's carried. The motion to adjourn, Deputy Mayor Webb and Councilor Doherty, all in favor?
That extra hour,
Carried.
eh?